All right. We
Namo, fundamental teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo, fundamental teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo, fundamental teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I have come to hold and receive it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual meaning.
okay. Okay. Only you and me today. That's good. Okay. So last time we learned about, maybe we read about the poor and the wealthy already, right? Did we?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Now we go ahead and read the 6A.
Okay. Some man or woman who is obstinate and arrogant. He does not pay homage to one who should receive homage, does not rise up for one in whose presence he should rise up, does not offer a seat to one who deserves a seat, does not make way for one whom he should make way, and does not honor, respect, revere, and venerate one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a state of deprivation. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is lowborn.
You understand this?
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense because kind of disrespecting another person's position that's given to them by karma, disrespecting that position makes sense that one in the future wouldn't enjoy such a position because they didn't hold it in any regard.
So when we disrespect them, that means people will disrespect us. That's easy to understand. Nothing. Okay. Go ahead and read the 6B as well.
Some man or woman is not obstinate and arrogant. He pays homage to one who should receive homage, rises up for one in whose presence he should rise up, offers a seat to one who deserves a seat, makes way for one for whom he should make way, and honors, respects, reveres, and venerates one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is born, he is highborn.
That's easy to understand when we respect other people. And especially we respect our teacher, respect our parents. That will be the most virtue. Beside of the respect the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. So that's important. Let me ask you a question here. Last week we talked about that how could be one is right now you look at the people like Putin or the dictator, right? They have so much power, so much blessing, but how could they become very brutal, become very evil? If we say that, oh, this thing has come from their blessing they played in the past. But how is that possible? I think we already assigned to this one, right?
You think we already what?
We already discussed about this thing already. Yeah.
Yes, we talked about it last time with the idea of the generation of the karma that was good that led to their high position was prior to like a life as a predator, some sort of like lion or bear or something, and that there was just a different order of ripening of karma. So they probably at some point repented for past actions and started taking good actions, but the actions they repented for still led to a rebirth as an animal or like in a predatory state. But then once that karma was spent, then they could enjoy the blessings they gained from the good actions, but they had this sort of carryover of habit from that, like that previous incarnation of being, predatory.
Mm. But if someone say that, how could the person in this world that at the same time they in the human life they do the good deed as well as the bad deed at the same time? I mean, in the human life, how is that possible?
Well, you could benefit one group of people while hurting another group of people. That would be one way to create positive and negative at the same time.
No, not the same time, but during the human life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people can start off being terrible and then can turn around and then become respectful and wholesome, or it can go the other way. Someone can turn around from practicing good actions. They can say, like, I'm tired of this, I just want to do whatever I want to do.
And do you think that a good person can become bad sometimes?
Well, I think that we're not really actually good or bad, in that we may have good habits, but we have the full spectrum of possibility within us. At any moment, a person who's done a lot, has made a lot of good actions, can choose to take the wrong action, can choose to do something that's hurtful if they're, if the right condition arises. They still have the possibility to make a bad action. So, I mean, we call someone good because they've been taking good actions, and they're more likely to keep taking good actions, but it's still completely possible for them to choose something else, while internally they may feel more of a struggle in making a bad choice if they've been used to making good choices. But if they're compelled to make a bad choice, they definitely can.
So let's say that person, especially a lot of people, they love to do good deeds, right? So they help out other people in need, right? It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. But sometimes, you know what, they get, let's say some of the, in some condition, they get angry, right? When they get angry, you know what happened? Their anger control them. When the anger control them, they are no longer for the rational thinking working. You know what? Because the rational thinking is absent, everything could go wrong. And that's why the Buddha said that when we do all the good deeds, right, we build a lot of blessing. Only one fire of the anger will burn your forest of the blessing of the forest. Let's say that we have the blessing. It's a huge blessing, just like the forest. We can burn them up just like in that second. It's a flick of finger. You see that? It's very terrible. So at that moment, he commit the very offensive comment. For example, let's say that they an argument between children and parents. If the children say any ill will or have any ill will and ill behavior toward their parent, the offensive comment for this thing is terrible. Does it make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Because they are the ones sacrifice everything for us. To the children eye, the parent, we should not see any problem come from the parent, even though they do have problems. They do make mistakes. Don't ever try to accuse them anything. Because they are human. We are human. We make mistakes, it's okay. But don't use that mistake and try to condemn them. It's not good. You know why?
Well, because I don't think I know the full reason. I mean, I know some of the parts where it's well, because they brought us into this world, they cared for us, they sacrificed in order for us to be born and live, and to provide us everything we needed. And that it said that there's no way, there's nothing we can actually do to repay that. No, even if we do all of the best things for them, because if we weren't born, we wouldn't have the opportunity to, learn the Buddha Dharma, generate any sort of blessings, or gain any sort of wisdom.
In the Buddha's teaching us about how to respect the parent, and you know what he said, that doesn't matter what you do, you can use your, let's say that we are very wealthy, right, and we have a lot of money, just like pile up into the entire world. You can use that entire world wealthy. You can serve your parent. You cannot be able to repay their love and kindness and compassion, even a tiny. Because the love, the care they give to us, unconditional. If we use the external for repay, it's only little, it's not too much. So now, if we have any kind of ill will against them, that's even worse, right? So from the parent eye, no, from the children eye, we should learn and try to contemplate that no, from our parents, we should not see any mistake. Even though they do have mistakes, what you do, what should we do when they make a mistake? We just close our eye and walk away. We try fully walk away. Is that a good thing?
Because it depends the nature of the mistake.
Let's say that they make a terrible mistake.
Yeah, well, I know we're not supposed to like disparage them to other people, like talk about their faults or their mistake to other people. It's better to just stay quiet in that sense. You're saying should we like walk away from the relationship? I think we should find, right, it depends upon the relationship, but we should find a safe way to stay in the relationship. You know, some parents are even like violent or abusive, and so we wouldn't need necessarily sever them off entirely, but we'd find the distance that doesn't harm us and still, maintain some sort of connection.
Yeah, we should if to like you said, the violent, right, abusive, right? Because we maybe our parents are using drug, right? They are drug user. Yeah. So we keep the distance. It doesn't mean that we have ill will against them, but we should always have the loving kindness, help them to get out of that thing, instead of accuse them, instead of condemn them, because those kind of condemn, accuse, no help. Usually, in our country, the men usually they have more than one wife, and that could be a problem, right? And you know what happened when the men have the men have more than one wife? What happened to the children? What happened to the family? They would destroy the family. Does it make sense?
Yeah, especially if it's at the same time, and if both wives are not in agreement with that being an okay thing. I think it's pretty rare that a woman is okay if her husband has another wife. But yeah, if it's at the same time and they don't want it to be happening, then they're probably not going to like the children of the other wife. And the father won't really be able to spend equal time with the children. It'll be very stressful.
In this country, if if the couple they don't like each other, they can go to court and they can divorce. But in our country, that thing is very rare. And you know what? The woman is suffer the most, as well as the children. And even though for this kind of situation, should we accuse him for that kind of terrible mistake?
Well, I think it makes sense for someone to feel angry about it. If say, it's me and my father leaves our family and we have very difficult time. Anger makes sense. Obviously, it's not helpful. And so we didn't have to deny it or try to shut it down, but to not live in it, to find a way for forgiveness and to look for a way forward. Because, I think my internet there, I got a thing that said my internet was unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Because of whatever the father does, he was our father and he helped us come into the world, and he's dealing with his own problems. He's being driven by, desire and anger or aversion, and he'll suffer because of those things. If we can, forgive and get around our anger so that we can be compassionate, I think that's the best thing for us personally, as well as the other person, because we don't need to punish the other person. We should rather want to try to keep them from suffering as much as they are likely to if they've hurt others. So, I personally had a large growth arc with my father. There was a point where I was just so angry at him. And I think what kind of summed it up for me, that helped me, I would just being around him for any matter of time, I just got angry. But after I got some clarity on he's a human being like anyone else, and he's doing what he thinks is the best thing to do. And I have this idea of how he should be. And it's about me, basically. It's about how he should be for me. And I'm just relating to the difference between that idea and who he is. Once I realized that and just started relating to him for who he is, and basically letting him off the hook for, okay, you don't have to be this idea I have in my mind. You are who you are. And then I could see all the things that he did do for us. I could see in so many areas, he did so much more than other fathers did or were able to do. Like with our schooling, with all the vacations he took us on, tennis and horseback riding. There's all of these things he made sure we had these experiences and that we developed our minds. And so, yeah, then I was able to kind of see the positives. And, once I didn't live under his roof anymore and didn't rely upon him for money, it was very easy to just kind of to let go and just meet him where he was. And whenever I see him now, I have no anger. It's a total easy relationship, and we enjoy each other's company. We talk, no problem. Before, I would psych myself up whenever I was going to see him. I try to prepare myself to try to prevent from becoming angry. But now I'm totally casual, and it's enjoyable and easy.
You see how peaceful you are? Very peaceful, right?
It's so much better. Yeah.
It's very peaceful. You see that if we in this situation, and you know what? If we the one who also get angry, we and them is the same thing, no different, right? And you know what? The family become two different groups, and they fight each other. And you know what? And we also involve into it to help to tear and tear the family apart. Instead of healing, we tearing. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
If we, the one who be able to see things through it, not emotionally, but through it. And we can see things with love and kindness and compassion. All the whole goal, the whole mission that we are here to heal them. Not look at the past, only future go forward. And in order to do this, we have to sacrifice a lot of things to heal the family condition. You understand? Materially and emotionally, with patience. Because it's worth it, because they are our parents. Doesn't matter who they are, it's still our parents. If we say that we have love and kindness with the other people, and we cannot be able to have a love and kindness with our parents, what is the purpose? It makes no sense. So then that means whoever involved in this kind of fighting, we will work with them individually, with love and kindness, try to help them to understand, try to fill in the gap that they missing. This would take time. And when we do all those things, right, that were the good seed that we plant on them. And with the hard work and with the hard work, with the love and kindness and compassion, this is what we call the condition. We create a good condition. Due to the bad cause, we need to have a good condition. In order to transform the bad cause into the good effect. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when time is come, all the condition is set and met, the result come out beautifully. Family become healing, and people become understand each other, and they try to accept each other easily at the whole, instead of at the peace.
Mm-hmm.
This takes many years, 20 years, 30 years, it's okay, doesn't matter. The time.
I saw it in my own family because so my mom and dad separated, and it was a really bad divorce, like very heated, a lot of anger, and for years like they were really mean to each other. But now they go on vacation together.
That's good.
Yeah, now they're like totally fine.
That's good. You see, that's beautiful. When we be able to have the good mind, we can begin healing the family together. We bring the all the party together at the home. That's beautiful. You know what? My father right now, he's 90 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he have his memory is lost, right? He could not remember anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that means take care of that kind of person is very tough. It's not easy. And you know who is the one taking care of that? My dad right now?
Oh, your mother?
No, my mother passed away already in
Oh,
2012.
sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
His second wife?
Third wife, actually, he have a third wife. Okay, anyway.
Third wife.
But that they were the one that who taking care of him. And I'm very appreciate and very grateful for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I call every week, 2 or 3 times at least, to talk to her and talk to my father. Because when that thing happened when I came to the first time I came back to Vietnam, right, in 1980, no, 1998, 97, I think 97 or 98, I don't remember. And that's the first time I learned about my father, my family situation. And you know what? And he brought the youngest sister, that means the from the other wife, right? To see me when she was fifth grade, when she was fifth grade or sixth grade. And you know what? The first word I talked to her, what did I say to her? And she very scared to see us. And you know what? I told her that, sister, you need to focus on your study. I will help you throughout your education from now until you finish your college level. And you know what? Now they are the one, my sister, the youngest one, and his mom take a good care of my father.
Oh, great.
I have a very good relationship with them. So that's how we build the healing. It takes many years. It's about more than 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It doesn't matter how long. Time is not important. It's important what we are doing right now. We should know what we are doing. That's the whole purpose. Due to them, we be able to practice the loving kindness and compassion. So we should thank you them, right? We should appreciate for what, for this kind of condition, we be able to practice. Mm. So anyway, and 2003, I think it's 2002, when I came back to the country in 1998, my mom kept crying because woman, right? Well, everyone is the nature of envy. What do you call jealous, right?
Yeah.
Envy. That's normal. That's really normal. And I comfort my mother, and I always talk to her on the phone. And at that time, talking on the phone is not easy. I have to call home with a paid call. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and she said that sometimes my dad come home and asking money to help the other lady, because she have a lot of problems with the health condition. And you know what? I told my mom that, Mom, you don't have to go out to do any good deed, to do the volunteer work or do the charity. No need. At home, we do have a good candidate for you to do it. If you be able to help her by giving money to the father, let the father help her to take care of her health, pay for her health. That's how you do the charity work with the good heart, with the good heart. And you know what? The work you are doing right now, compared to the people who go out there and help the people using the money, using the labor, those things is external. 1,000 things like that, or even 100,000 like that, cannot compare to what you do. Because the thing you are doing right now, you create the virtue. This is the internal. The other thing is just external. And once we have virtue, the blessing you have is unbelievable. And you know what? She listened to me, and she did.
Yeah.
That's how I help her to unlock the tie.
Mm-hmm.
To untie the knot, right? To untie the knot.
Yeah.
So try to help her to unload the resentment. the hatred in her and try to develop the goodness. And you know what? It takes many years for her to be able to overcome. But it's before her death, she be able to overcome. And you know what? Before her, when my mom's still alive, right? I keep a distance. I never go and visit the other family. It doesn't mean that I have a resentment or I have a ill will against them. No, because I still hope that my sister, the youngest one. But the reason I keep the distance is because I want to give my mom the what do you call the dignity. You understand? The dignity. To give her some kind of dignity. Did I use the word correctly?
Yes, that makes sense. Because it would be until she was ready to be comfortable with this new woman and be around her or have, you know, some sort of interaction with her. Yeah, it would be unusual for you as her son to go and be spending time with her and being free and easy and happy, because then it'd be like your mom would be kind of on the outside. So I think dignity really makes sense in that setting. Until she was ready, it wouldn't make sense for you to spend time with her.
So my mom, I think it's about she worship and I lie on the bed for 5.5 years before she passed away. And you know what? About 2 years before her death, I went home and I talked to her, to my mom. I asked her permission. Mom, may I have your permission to come and visit them? And I would like my sister come and visit you every week. With your approval, I will do it. If you don't want it, I will not do it. And you know what my mom said? Yeah, go ahead. You have my permission. So whatever I do, I always inform her, because that's how we respect her. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when the mom okay with it, I asked my sister come down and give me take me to your family. And from then I talked to his mom, and because his mom, oh no, her mom want to see my mom to apologize for what, to ask for forgiveness from my mom. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So and the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want my mom on the day when she passed away. If these people appear in front of her, you know what happened?
She could be very angry.
And she go down into the three evil realms very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I don't want to happen. So I want her to get used to this. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, and my sister mom, she cried, and she asked me forgiveness, and I said that I never have any ill will against you. Look the way that I take care of my sister, right? Since she was 6 to 8 until now. So therefore, I don't have anything to hold against you. So there's nothing to ask you for my forgiveness. It's already to me. Everything to me is okay. There's no problem between you and me. And I told her that I will take care of my sister just like the way that I take care of my brother. I treat her equally with my brother. They know this. And I did. And I make sure she understand that, she feel comfortable with it, and hopefully she do not have any ill will, ill plan against my family. You understand? And after that, I talked to her that, and I told my sister, I said that because you go to school nearby the house, every week you can stop by one a week, and go in and visit my mom. Your mom, actually, she in our tradition, the older mom, they also the children from the younger mom call the older one is mom. That is the tradition we always have. That's a good one. So I told her that go home and visit mom, and take a good care of her. Okay, and she said. And since then, when I left the country, I go back to the United States. Every 1 or 2 weeks, she visits. And since then, everything okay, back to normal. And things it become very well. Anyway, that the way I deal with the problem. But in order to do this, when we encounter the very difficult situation, without have a thought of against others, it's not easy. Without have the ill will against others, it's not easy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
How do we make sure that from now on to the future life, we can be able to deal with any kind of situation like this without having any ill will against them? Angry is normal, but don't hold the ill will. Oh, ill will. Ill anger against them. How do we do that? But you understand my question?
I mean, if like throughout future lives, I mean, there seemed to be the root of it is definitely this idea of protecting oneself and one's interests.
Mhm.
And that's what creates the anger, is someone doing something that disregards those interests. And I think we can kind of develop more understanding and patience in the initial stages, where it's like, okay, as we have more patience and understanding and flexibility and fewer desires, so that it's harder for somebody to actually significantly encroach upon what's important to us. Like in the beginning, we can kind of make it harder for anger to be triggered, but there'll still be something that can trigger anger or frustration. I think really until we clearly see no self, like not just understand it, but we like are enlightened and we don't have self-interest anymore, I think there'll always be something that will be able to give rise to anger. So in that state, we really need mindfulness, because we need to notice that, because the momentum in that situation of anger is so strong. It's like, it can even, like, knowing is not enough, because if I'm angry about something, I can know that the anger is not good for me, but it's still kind of like a rat in a cage sort of situation. Unless I can, the one thing that always works for me is if I stop, like whatever I'm doing, I stop and I get still and I just stop thinking about stuff. I redirect my attention using my breathing, and then it will unwind on its own. And on the other side, it'll be clear and it'll be easy. And even if the situation's not different, even if you know, the person, they still have the same behavior and it's still kind of impinging upon something that's important to me, well, I can be a little bit more like water in the sense of, okay, well, maybe that's an opportunity for me to not be as attached. Maybe it's an opportunity, you know, some things are more easy than others, but the key seems to be not having attachments. And the attachments flow from the sense of self. So the things that cause anger are like shining a light on attachments and on the sense of self. And so even though they don't feel like it, they're still beneficial. They're beneficial in a bigger sense. They feel harmful in a small sense.
So how do we turn that thing around? The sense of self.
The sense of self. I think through like meditation and from like cultivating mindfulness and seeing more clearly, and then gradually, you know, wisdom dawning. And but it's not really until arhatship that the sense of self totally dissolves.
But
right?
you know what that means? You have to devote it into it. You put all your time and energy into the meditation, right? And you put all your time into the practice. The meditation itself, even though, yeah, the meditation will help us to calm down and the mind become very clear, very calm. Yeah, but we have to devote our time, right? It's not easy for the ordinary people like us to do it. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we be able to do it? Still deal with the ordinary thing.
I think mindfulness. So being aware of our feelings and not ignoring them, like seeing what, you know, taking time to let the meaning of the feeling and what, like, help understand like what is important in this situation, and try to communicate, but without coming from a place of anger, and in a neutral way. Like, I mean, like when you said you asked your mom permission for your your stepmother to come and visit her and your sister to come visit, you could have said like, Mom, I want this to happen, it should happen, you should say yes. And then if she said no, you could have gotten upset about it. But you stayed in a place where, I mean, you were willing to accept no, even though it was important to you. You're willing to accept no, and so you remaining calm then wouldn't like trigger conflict. If she said no, whether she said yes or no, everything was going to be okay. So I think being vigilant to what I hold most important. If I hold like, you know, peacefulness and understanding and kindness more important than some sort of end result. And I think the vigilance is the key, because intellectually I can understand like, all right, yeah, no end result is worth getting into a conflict and getting angry, because it's not going to achieve the result anyways. And now I don't have the result and I'm angry. So it's like double whammy. But it's the like the mindfulness to not automatically hold something else more important other than, you know, cultivating like a wholesome mind and peacefulness and good deeds. So
actually, yeah, that is a good way. I will tip in this. Kolang, you have anything to say about this? You understand what we discussed about this thing?
Yeah, because I'm understand, but I don't have anything to discuss about it.
Okay. So you know what? Yeah. After that, you know what? After I visit them, right? You know what? The sister came and visit my mom for uh, 2 times. After that, the stepmom, she went and visited my mom. Before she went in, she called. She asked me to ask my mom to allow her to go and visit my mom. And I asked my mom, and she said yes. And you know what? They met, and the other one is ask my mom for forgiveness. Yeah. So that's how it works. Okay. So what basically we are the ordinary people, right? It's very tough for us to develop the mindfulness with the busy schedule, right? It's not easy, and to be vigilant, it's not easy. But what we can do is in this the thing we are learning in the guide to the Bodhisattva way of life. We will learn the first chapter is to how to develop a Bodhicitta. Because the Bodhicitta, you will learn the process how to contemplate. And this will help us to develop the loving kindness and compassion. And when we get used to this thing, thing will come to us in the a little bit normal way. Just like when you before you when you hang around with your dad, you feel very angry. But after you train your mind, you reframe your mind, you'll be able to be nearby him without problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bodhicitta also the same way. And in order to be able to develop the Bodhicitta, and we need to be able to maintain the Bodhicitta to the vow. And we need to make some vow that in the future, doesn't matter what kind of situation we encounter, our three poison mind never arise. I mean, greed, anger, and stupidity. If we make the vow to speak like that, and do to the sincere vow you make, and that will push you to the constantly develop bodhicitta. And with this, and also the vow, with the bodhicitta and with the vow, and you know what? When we evolve in the birth and death and rebirth cycle, this vow become very strong and help us and guide us throughout the process. Even though before we understand the Buddha teaching, we be able to handle things just like the second nature of our own. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
This is important because when we be born, right, we don't remember what we learned in the past. We have to relearn. But before we relearn, the goodness nature in us, right? It's the one it protects us. It will just like the shield. It will shield us from the evil.
Mm-hmm.
This is important. And this is throughout my life, I be able to feel it. I be able to feel that this thing it helped me to steal from the evil. It will not allow me to have any ill will against anyone who, even though the one who hurt me the most, I willing to forgive. I don't want to have any ill will against. So that's why I always focus on the Bodhicitta. I believe the Bodhicitta is so. Without this thing, we cannot have the good mind. I mean the good mindset. So and also we be able to practice the meditation. It will enhance, right? It will enhance. That's good. That's pretty good. So so to me, Because the Bodhicitta, we turn the self interest into the living being interest. You turn that around. You see that?
Mhm.
There is no self interest when you're dealing with the Bodhicitta. You only have interest in living being. You see, important. So yeah, we make mistake. We break karma there, here and there sometimes. But with this good mind, it will help us to come back very quickly. Because this is the good reminder. It will wake us up when we make a mistake.
Mhm.
Because we still human. We still an ordinary person. That's normal. We are not the enlightened one yet. We are not the saintly one yet. We cannot expect to be perfect. But even though Arahat is not perfect yet, remember that.
Yeah.
They still have a habit, their own habit. Only the Buddha is the most perfect one. Okay, anyway. You go ahead and finish the 7A and B together.
Some man or woman does not visit a recluse or a Brahmin and ask, Venerable Sir, what is wholesome? What is unwholesome? What is blamable? What is blameless? What should be cultivated? What should not be cultivated? What kind of action will lead to my harm and suffering for a long time? What kind of action will lead to my welfare and happiness for a long time? Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a state of deprivation. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn stupid. Wisdom. Some man or woman visits a recluse or a Brahmin and asks, Venerable Sir, what is wholesome? What kind of action will lead to my welfare and happiness for a long time? Because of performing and undertaking such action, he appears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is wise.
So what do you understand?
Yeah, that choosing to seek for wisdom in a previous life from someone who is wise leads to wisdom in that life, but also in future lives. And if we don't, if we're not concerned about that at all in this present life, then in future lives we'll lack wisdom.
So that means if we involve in learning the Dharma, discussing the Dharma discussion, right? That help us to gain wisdom. You understand, right?
Yes.
If we do not want to, if we don't have any interest into learning the Dharma and have no interest in the Dharma discussion, of course we gain no wisdom. That means true. That very true. Okay, go ahead and read the blue one so we finish with it.
Beings are owners of their actions, student heir of their actions. They originate from their actions, are bound to their actions, have actions as their refuge. It is action that distinguishes beings as inferior and superior.
No,
That's Nagasena from the conversation with King Melinda.
Yeah.
Because we just read that one on Friday.
Okay.
Or maybe the Friday before.
But this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But if you do not learn about the border state, you will not understand when they say that Westfield, the answer not there, Westfield. It's not easy to understand that. When they say that, we Westfield with the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. Why we say that? Our accent at our Westfield. What does that mean?
Well, I think we could look at it different ways. When we look at it in the sense of the Bardo realm,
Mm-hmm.
whatever actions we've taken, well, that's our karma, and that's one of the factors that determines our rebirth. Mm-hmm. So if we've taken good actions, then in the Bardo realm, we're drawn to a more positive rebirth. I think the other one is that taking refuge with the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha is an action. So like if we don't regularly take that action, like taking refuge is an action as well. So in a sense, right action is so crucial, because say if we do take refuge, but then we make bad actions, then that refuge won't be nearly as effective as if we actually take good actions as well. It's like the refuge is tied in with taking good actions.
Oh, no, no. Oh, okay, this is a good one. Okay, before I go talk about that. So, as our refuge, right? This means that when we go enter into the mother womb, right? And every week the karma wind, right? It will different karma wind name. They create the body, the feature of the fetus, as well the body and the mental. This is what we call the action is our refuge, right? Because the karma is our refuge. Does that make sense?
Yes.
This is important. That's why, therefore, the action that distinguishes being at the inferior and superior. This right here, all this thing we learn is inferior and superior. You see that? Very important. So that's why if we don't learn about the body state, it's very tough for us to understand the definition of the refuge. And now come back to say that. If you say that, let's take in the refuge, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and we pray the karma, that means it's not good enough. It's not good. And compared to one, if you compare to the one that who do good, but do not take the refuge in the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha, which one is better?
Oh, well, does the person taking refuge also do good, or do they do bad?
They do bad.
They take refuge, but they do bad.
Compared to the one do not take refuge, but they do good.
I think it's the one who doesn't take refuge but does good, because actions are our refuge. So if our actions are bad, we're not really truly taking refuge.
Okay, I think it's, we need to make sure we understand this correctly.
Okay.
Otherwise, you will not have the right view. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, action at our refuge, it only means the power of the karma. Okay. Not only tell us the good karma or the bad karma. Okay, the people who do good or do bad, it represents the good karma or the bad karma. But when we take the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, let's say we create the bad karma. We will pay for it, right? We go to the bad realm anyway. Doesn't matter you take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. But after we pay for the due, right? When we come back, we still have the connection with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. You understand? But the one who do not take the refuge with the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, but they the one who do with the good karma, right? So they will enjoy the result in the heaven. Just like the Sakya. After he used all his blessing, he fall. He will fall into the animal realm. If he do not have any connection with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, who can help him? No one can help him. So that means the one who do not take refuge, but they do good, it will not cannot compare to the one who do bad, but with the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think if I think about it as someone who's doing good and has a chance to take refuge but doesn't, like, because I think is that important at all? Like, say it's a person who just doesn't even know about the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and is just doing good for the sake of good because they're driven by, other people's suffering. And so, but they don't know about a figure called the Buddha. They don't know. They're just driven by this kind of natural compassion. that person to me seems to kind of already be taking refuge, at least in the Dharma, because they're acting out of compassion. And so in a future life, if they're still acting out of compassion, but if that person had an opportunity to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and then didn't take refuge, that would make sense to me why they would be inferior than someone who took refuge and had difficulty making good actions, but still saw the value of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
No, but look at this. You remember I tell you the story about the rich man, the wealthy man who make the given using the 84,000 room to give or whatever the people come to him.
Yeah.
The one that do that, he have a lot of blessing, but cannot compare to the one who taking the refuge.
Takes refuge, yeah.
You remember? Yet doing good, it doesn't mean that it represents for the Dharma. No.
But
The people
then,
who doing good deed, it doesn't mean that that is a loving kindness, or because they just doing good deed, maybe they feel, but they do not have the connection to learn the Dharma as a wisdom. Because the Dharma, the goal, the whole purpose of the Dharma is help us to transform the three poison from the mind, right? The hatred and the ignorance. But the one who doing the good deed, they do not know how to transform those things. And they still have the self. You understand? Because they don't know how to transform those things, means they still have a self. And you know what? That's like the one who in power right now. They enjoy the blessing, at the same time they cause a lot of problem, suffering to other people. You see that? Those things, that's why the Buddha said that in the Adornment Power Sutra, even though you do all the good deeds, but if you forget to generate the Bodhicitta, all the good deeds equal to the demon deed. Because we enjoy on the second life, on the second life, while we are enjoying, we play karma. And the third life, we fall into the three realm, three evil realm. That's what we call the demon deed. Does that make sense?
mm-hmm.
So the one who doing the good deed, those good deeds they're not equal to the Dharma. Make sure we understand that. That's very important. They know how they like.
What about in the setting of like? Oh, go ahead.
That's why when the one who take the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, that is the fearless given. Because the one who taking the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, they are the one who respect life. But the one who do good deed, they do not know how to respect other people's life. You can eat all the animals, right? Right?
Wouldn't that be a bad deed though?
What bad deed?
Eating animals?
Of course. We remember this. When the material death, you can repay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the death through the blood, the blood that we consume, you cannot repay. Okay, I think it's now at the end. My master called me.
Yeah, this is good. This is good.
Okay, I just want to make sure you understand that.
Yeah, thank you. That does help.
So make sure we clear on that, right?
Yes. Isn't the next part says like doesn't compare the person who takes refuge to someone who keeps the precepts?
Yeah, that means when you that means the person who taking the refuge, they didn't need to uphold the 5 precepts. But in order to uphold the 5 precepts, you have to take the refuge. That means another level higher.
Oh, so someone who doesn't take refuge, even if they're keeping the 5 precepts, still is less like, it's inferior to someone who's taken refuge.
Because taking refuge is represent for the faith that we have with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
Yes.
But if we do not take the refuge, we have no faith with those. And how that will help you. That makes sense. Okay, I have to stop right here.
No, I understand. Thank you. Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
right here. Let's finish this thing here. Okay, that's good. We have a good discussion today. That's right. I just want to make sure that you understand correctly. Otherwise,
I appreciate it.
yeah, go ahead and read this one.
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Thank you. I think today we clarified something for you. That's good thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.